Good evening, everyone. This is a City Council meeting this Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 6:16 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Pickett?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Martin?
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Bana?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Caraballo?
Here, ma'am. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge.
Almighty God in heaven, we ask thy blessings upon those gathered here this evening and upon all the citizens of Port St. Lucie. Look with favor on our leaders and give them the insights, the wisdom, and the patience to deal with the problems and tasks coming before them. Please bless their work and their deliberations. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're on to public to be heard. This is your opportunity to speak to the council for up to 3 minutes on any non-agenda related item. After public to be heard ends, then the council can respond if they so choose to. I have one person who has signed up to speak, Mr. Grazios. Please forgive me if I mispronounced your name.
You did very well, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Jerry Grazios, 9324 Avenel Lane, Port St. Lucie, Florida. I want to thank you all for allowing me to speak tonight, and I also like the port area and the park there. We've been there many times, especially like to walk the boardwalk. I'm here tonight to go over an issue we're having with a business. It's a noise issue. The business is located at 2011 Northwest Commerce Lakes Drive in Port St. Lucie. Our homes back up. There's actually a boundary line, a property line between our development and the commercial area. There is a row of trees that separate, plus an FP&L easement that separates. And we've come to the zoning meetings when the different properties have come up because we've received letters about zoning changes and whatever. And each time we've tried to, at the zoning meeting, we've asked for a wall, which is in the zoning code between a commercial area and a residential area. But in the past, the other developments were allowed to put a chain link fence up with some landscaping. On this last parcel that just got developed and it just opened, we had asked for a wall and the zoning board approved it. And when it came before the city council, the owner of the building, we weren't aware of this at the time. We came to the zoning meeting, but we had no notice that he was making a change to the property. We were told by your building department that the owner put in for a landscape adjustment and in lieu of a wall or fence. This hasn't happened yet. I called the building department. They said they haven't finished the plans, but they're in operation and they have businesses there. In retaliation, and he has mentioned this to your police department when they've contacted the owner, he has put speakers facing the backyards of our houses, and he plays the same song, Don't Worry, Be Happy, from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m., 7 days a week, even though the building closes at 5 for most of the businesses there. But we brought up an item that is in, when you look on the city code, on the website, it says no businesses in Port St. Lucie, Florida. They're not allowed to leave speakers on playing music that disturbs nearby residents, particularly during designated quiet hours. And it gives the different ordinances. We've contacted, we're very happy with working with the agencies, but it still is going on. And we have a lot of elderly. It affects about 10 houses. So I'm here representing them because many of them don't like to travel where it could be dark at night. Mm-hmm. They are elderly. But it is an annoyance. Even your police department has come out. They've asked me to dial 911 each time we hear it. It's every day. We stop calling. They've been out there. They are working with us. But nothing so far has got the owner motivated to turn off the music. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Would anyone else like to address the council at public to be heard? Seeing no one, I'm going to close public to be heard. Mr. Morejo?
Yes, Madam Mayor, the gentleman, please provide me with all the information that you have, and we'll make sure that from the city manager's office, we'll be addressing that issue and looking into what's going on there. Thank you. Teresa, can you please get the information? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
I just think that's extremely disappointing because I remember when that was approved. And I remember them talking about how they were going to be neighborly, specifically. And Mr. City Manager, beyond just working with them, I do think a conversation needs to be had. Because to me, if we have to look at changing an ordinance for businesses that abut residential neighborhoods and remove speakers or whatever to be able to prevent intrusion of sound like that into a neighborhood, especially when if what the gentleman is saying is accurate and they're playing the same song over and over again, at that point I'm wondering if I don't have proof of it, but it sounds like it's malicious in the sense of how they're acting within a neighborhood, and that's not right. So if you are doing that and you're listening to this council, I would politely, as a resident, ask you to please stop, because that's just not right if that's what you're doing. So, and then Mr. City Manager, from a legal standpoint, Mr. City Attorney, from a legal standpoint, and a city council standpoint, I would like you to handle this as best as possible to have them cease from disturbing the neighborhood.
And I think we need to also look at what was previously approved by the council or the planning board.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, I agree 100%. All right, we're moving on to additions and deletions to the agenda and approval of the agenda. It's been requested to table item 10E, so please include that with the motion.
Motion is approve the agenda with item 10E tabled.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda? Is there a motion?
First turn on my microphone. I'll move approval of the consent agenda with the removal of 7B, B as in boy.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second with the removal of 7B. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 7B, Councilwoman?
So the reason I wanted to discuss this, we've done this in the past, and it just kind of, I dug a little bit deeper this time, that we're approving 3. So I pulled up the policy. I would suggest that we go back and have this policy looked at and changed, because there's a few items under the definitions and also under the policy that we're not adhering to, and I don't like breaking the rules or changing things. I don't know if you want me to go through them or send it via email or go ahead and state them. So the three that were mentioned are Port St. Lucie Police Athletic League, the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce, and the Humane Society of St. Lucie. I know that it is not the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce, it is the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce Foundation is the only arm of the chamber that is a 501c3. The Chamber of Commerce is a 501c6. But in our definition, it states that a service contract refers to 501c3 organizations who lease city-owned property to deliver services to the public without remuneration or charge a minimal fee. So we may want to look at that definition, or it's a policy that came from city manager. Also under the policy, the city council may authorize up to 2 golf tournaments annually. And on down, another bullet point, it states an organization awarded a tournament must take a 2-year hiatus from their last city council approved tournament before again becoming eligible. Now, the city council may make an exception to this should a tournament opportunity exist due to no other qualifying organization submitting request.
Right.
The reason I'm bringing this up is that I want to make sure that this is being done fairly with all 501c3s that are in Port St. Lucie. An announcement, it just says Parks and Rec shall make a public announcement. How? Just say it? Or are we emailing all the 501c3s that are located in Port St. Lucie that lease city-owned property? Is this done fairly? And it's hard for me, and I want to make sure because this is taxpayer money that goes through our government. So I want to make sure that we're being diligent when it comes to that. I have nothing against any of these organizations, but if we have rules in place, let's follow the rules or let's change the rules. So that's why I have an issue with this one.
I know last year, I think it was, we had the 3 and the council decided to include 3 as opposed to the 2. So it was a council decision on that. With regard to the differences with the foundation and the chamber, I think that was also addressed last year, but I don't remember what came out of that. So, but
I mean, Madam Mayor, I think it's worth a discussion in the sense of Councilwoman Morgan is correct. If it says that it's leased, that's a very finite amount of entities that apply. So POW would be, from my understanding, they lease a property out in my district, so I know where their property is. And to my knowledge, the chamber does not. And the other one was, the third one, I'm looking at my
Police Athletic League
was POW. What
and
was
the
third one?
Humane Society.
The Humane Society does, out
Does.
in Glades. So if the goal from the council at the time in the discussions with Mr. Blackburn when he was setting the policy, if the goal was to limit the amount of people that could host a fundraiser to ensure that it's not getting inundated, right? And we're not opening up to everybody. I don't know what the goal was at the time, but if the goal of the council is to open up to all 501c3s, then the policy does need to reflect that. And then how do people apply to be able to have that opportunity? And so either we follow the rules or we don't. I agree with you, Councilwoman Morgan. And if we don't like the rules, we change it. So I think it's a topic for discussion at a minimum, for sure.
yeah, it's my understanding that they apply. We don't put out a notice. They apply. But it is fair to say, well, how do they know?
Right,
So,
and how do they know, and are we treating all of them fairly? I mean, I'd hate to leave here tonight and saying, oh, I didn't know you did that, I would have applied.
Right.
And also, if we're not gonna follow the 2-year hiatus, then why have it in there?
Yeah.
So.
And I
it's
think
just-
that also was a result of no one else put in for it, so.
That's exactly right, Madam Mayor, and that does exist. But we can go back, review the policy, and maybe fine tune the policy, because you're right. If we provide notice and we have 5 of them or 10 of them that apply, then you get into the other issues as well. We want the golf course to be self-sustained. So then if you're giving out services, then, we have to have a balance in that. And I think that's why 2 were chosen at the time. But I don't think some of these are not taking advantage of the opportunity to go out there and utilize the golf course. But back to your point, you got to treat everybody fairly. And
Right.
everybody need to provide the same notice.
And I think that we did allow the 3, but I thought the chamber one ended up getting canceled from what
I don't remember, and I just feel that, and we have time.
Yeah,
Because it's from November 1st to December 31st, so we have time if we would like to have this policy brought back to us, changed, and to make sure that we're doing it fairly. That's just me, so I wouldn't support it as it states right now. I would like it to come back.
So are you asking for a motion to table? Sorry, I want to know what you want to.
Could it just be withdrawn and then resubmitted? Because it's not like it has to be advertised or anything.
so one thing I just want everyone to keep in mind that is when it should come back soon, because if they're having tournaments and they have to fundraise and they have to give notice and it takes months, for the nonprofits to do that. So if it's gonna come back, We should be having it
Right.
come back sooner rather than later.
And the tournament is November or December, so
Right, it's,
we've got time, but not a lot of time. I agree.
So, Madam Mayor, I know Brad's up, I just want to ask a clarifying question to the city attorney on this item. Being that it's not it's more of a legislative council item, are we able to split the baby with the bathwater, basically approve the two that are listed within the policy parameters and then bring back the third for later approval?
Yes, you can segment your motion
Okay.
like that. if you'd
So
I'm
like.
okay with that.
That's what I would
For now.
recommend,
And-
Councilman Morgan, if you're okay with it. I'd recommend going ahead and approving the Humane Society and PAL, because those fall under the parameters of the current policy, and then bringing back to the chamber one in the future.
And then revisit the whole policy.
Yeah. That way we don't hold those two up, because they fall under the policy.
Except for the 2-year hiatus. Didn't they do it last year? So we would not be following the
Okay.
2-year hiatus,
But
which
was
I
there-
would think it doesn't,
Keith, was there anybody else that applied?
I don't have a problem with the hiatus issue.
And, well, the notification that goes out through the email that I send out around
Speak.
November to the 6 groups. And the same 3 that played last year said they want to play this year.
Right. And the hiatus issue is interesting just because I asked how many 501c3s actually lease city property, because that's
Well-
very, very few and far between.
When we put this together, back with Mr. David Graham, I asked who are the ones on the list. 6 were designated as the ones. So the 6 that we are dealing with were defined as the ones that met the criteria.
So that's the way it was, that's why it was done that way? Okay, that's a good reminder.
be interesting to know who the 6.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have a list. somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, we
All
could
right.
go
I
through
can
that.
tell you who
Yeah.
the 6 are.
So,
Yeah. Let's not belabor it now, let's,
Yeah.
because we can keep going on for this all night, so we want to get to the
Thank
rest of
you.
the business. Yeah, thank you.
So what would you like to do?
can we table it? How long do you need to review the policy and to, I mean, not more than a month?
But I think there was a clarifying question there that 6 are part of this. So basically, the 3 that have applied this year are the ones that council can choose to approve this year. And then we
Except
can
for
work on the
chamber.
policy, except for chamber,
So then we're left with 2,
Yeah.
and then we can come back and review the policy.
the policy.
And, excuse me, but remembering that tournaments can only be done per the policy between June through October.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
For some reason, I had
Yes.
November
Right, so-
through just,
And that's why, the timing works for me to email them in November. They get back to me around February, by the end of February, and that's why I'm with you in front of you today. Here's the 3 that want it, so we can get with them, start scheduling and everything based
So-
on the timing.
So October is the cutoff.
right.
it's not
So
allowed in
would
November.
would it be the first meeting in April? It's our 1:00 meeting. I mean,
Like
that's
So
two.
may I make, just to wrap up what I've heard so far and make sure, Mr. Bradshaw, of the 6 you just spoke about, only 2 have responded.
That's what it
No,
sounds like.
all 6 have responded. 3 said no, 3 said yes.
Okay. And the 3 are the 3 listed here.
And the 3 that said yes are the ones, the 3 that played last year.
Okay. So under the policy, council may make an exception if there's no other
Correct.
interested respondents.
Well, and I
Correct.
think hiatus is probably redundant in the sense of if you're only having 6 that can actually apply,
Right.
is that just creating redundancy in the sense where you're not going to probably use that anyways, but that's just, because it's just 6. Now, if the council desires to open up to all 501c3s, then you definitely need a hiatus, I think, at that point. But
Yeah, well, we're
I
not
mean-
going to decide that tonight.
yeah, I'm okay with moving forward with making sure that we don't hold up the 2,
Yeah,
and then the 3rd we can bring back. That, I don't know how you guys
So
are.
you're saying you're good with just 2 and leaving the chamber off?
Not leaving the chamber off, bringing it back because it doesn't reflect the current policy.
Then the policy has to be modified and changed in order to
And
be
that's
able
the
to-
bigger conversation
Yeah.
that I think council needs to have in a workshop.
that's
Because
fine.
do we want to open it up to all
So,
501c3s? And that's a bigger conversation.
I mean, I would recommend approving all 3 of them since they was approved last year, then allow us to work on the policy and bring the policy back to the council, and then we can modify the policy.
I'm good with that too.
I'm
good with that.
I'm good with that as long as it's stated St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce Foundation.
Okay.
Okay.
I can do that.
I'm good with that.
Thank you.
And just please, let's make sure, Mr. City Manager, we communicate to the
Right.
chamber to let them know.
I will do that.
Thank you. And sorry to be a,
Thank
No.
you, Ms. Morgan.
Okay, so is there a motion for 7B?
Motion to approve item 7B.
Second.
Okay. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We're on to first reading of ordinances. 10A, ordinance 26-24.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, amending Chapter 153 definitions by adding a definition of certified recovery residences and Section 158.233 reasonable accommodation procedures, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney, Marissa Dabrio, Ashburn Planning and Zoning Department. P25215 is a text amendment initiated by the City of Port St. Lucie. It is to amend the Chapter 153 definitions and Section 158.233 reasonable accommodation procedures of the zoning code. The applicant again is the city, and this application supports Goal 7 of the Strategic Plan High-Performing Government Organization. Effective July 1st, 2025, the state's regulatory framework for certified recovery residences was updated by the enactment of Chapter 2025-182 and codified in subsection 397.48715A of the Florida statutes. This new legislation mandates that every municipality adopts a specific ordinance establishing local procedures for the review and approval of certified recovery residents within its jurisdictions. And this is the proposed amendment for Section 153. We added a definition for certified recovery residents. Is a recovery residence that holds a valid certificate of compliance and is actively managed by a certified recovery residence administrator. And this came from Chapter 357.311. This is the proposed amendment to Section 158.233, and the key additions does include the establishing of a mandatory timeline for the review of certified recovery residents, the automatic granting of requests if a final written determination is not issued by the city within a specific timeline, restricting the use of lapsed certification or licensure on the basis of revoking existing an accommodation. On March 3rd, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval of the proposed text amendments. This is the end of the presentation. I'd just like to issue that this is so that the city is in compliance with the state statutes.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. This item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
motion to approve ordinance 26-24.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10B, ordinance 26-25.
An ordinance amending Title 15, Land Usage, Chapter 158 Zoning Code of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Port St. Lucie by amending Section 158.100 to add enclosed assembly area as a special exception use in the open space recreational zoning district, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff. Ann Cox with the Planning and Zoning Department. This application is a city-initiated amendment to it's Chapter 158 Zoning Code to Section 158.100, which is the Open Space Recreational Zoning District, OSR. It adds enclosed assembly use as without alcoholic beverage license as a special exception in the OSR zoning district. The OSR district is a district that is intended to provide areas uniquely suited for public open space, recreational activities, and related public or semi-public facilities that promote the public welfare and ensure land use compatibility. So currently the OSR zoning permits parks or playgrounds or other cultural or recreational facilities which are public, and golf courses which can be public and private with or without alcoholic beverage license. The proposed change would allow a broader range of enclosed assembly uses, which could be public or private, in the OSR zoning district as a special exception use, while not allowing the alcoholic beverage component. Oh, okay, thank you. These are just the definitions, from our code, which would be chapter 153. This is the exact language that's being proposed to be added, which is, underlined in section 4. We're also recommending that because this zoning district is not addressed in the citywide design standards, that they be required to adhere to those design standards for any proposed new building. So that the amendment would allow opportunities for reuse of existing buildings and allow additional enclosed assembly uses in existing or proposed buildings on lands that are zoned OSR. It supports an indoor component for community activities while maintaining the open space and recreational character. And the proposed amendment is consistent with Goal 1.1 of the city's comprehensive plan. Okay, is it not? Oh, whatever, okay. Anyway, so the Planning and Zoning Board did recommend approval of this amendment at their March 3rd meeting. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Cox?
Nope.
No? All right, thank you. This item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 2625.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10C, ordinance 26-26.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 27, Block 2966, Port St. Lucie, Section 43, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 16, pages 15, 15A through 15L of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-26.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10D, ordinance 26-27.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Port St. Lucie to provide a small-scale amendment to the future land use map to change the future land use designation for approximately 8.03 acres from residential golf course to general commercial for a parcel of land legally described as parcels 1, 2, 3, and 4, Central Park Commercial Plat, as recorded in Plat Book 135, pages 39 through 41, inclusive of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good. Mayor, Council, Daniel Robinson, Planning and Zoning. The project before you is a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment. This is a request from DK Central Park and LLC and Shops at Port St. Lucie LLC to amend the future land use from residential golf course to general commercial. The property is located in northwest corner of the intersection of Crosstown and Verano Parkway. The neighboring properties all consist of residential uses. The PGA DRI, now known as Verano DRI, was established in 2003 and consists of RGC and CG land use designations. The 8.03 acre area of the DRI, specifically within the Pod G PUD, has a commercial use designation. The RGC land use allows limited commercial uses as they are intended to support the residential golf course development and not the surrounding community. The land use change from RGC to CG is necessary because the applicant wishes to provide commercial uses that may be more intensive uses that are typically found in property zoned CG, general commercial, such as retail with drive-through services, restaurants, automotive services. This will serve the greater community just as the existing CG land use area that consists of the Publix along Crosstown Parkway does. The amendment is consistent with Goal 1.1, which is to provide an appropriate mix of land use which meets the needs of current and future residents of Port St. Lucie in a way which is environmentally acceptable and developed concurrent with the needed facilities and services. At build out, the entire DRI will not likely develop all of the commercial entitlements originally granted from the overall land use mix and composition of the DRI, and not changing substantially. This request is a legislative action and can be approved or denied on council's determination of what is the best interest in the city. And the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval at the regular meeting of March 3rd, 2026. And the applicant is here if you have no questions for me.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Robinson? No? All right, thank you very much. This item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. Pete Hoffmans on behalf of the applicant. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Pete Hoffmans with Cutler and Hearing. Just thank Daniel for the presentation. I'll be quick this evening. Oh, that's fine. That's a quick snapshot of our project team. The request, as Daniel outlined, is we're looking to swap the RGC land use with the commercial general land use just for the 8 acres in Verano South in the Pod G. This site was always positioned and slated for commercial development, and so we're kind of bringing the comprehensive plan land use into a line with the DRI development order. Just a brief history there for anybody who's excited about that. This just provide a little bit of context. Pod G is outlined there in green, the commercial site in red. And I just want to note that this pod was approved for, I think, just over 2,800 residential units, multifamily and single family with the golf course. Just some context on the land use and the zoning that staff went over. And I wanted just to provide this slide just quickly that the red stars indicate where the commercial nodes are for the Verano DRI, and then the Verano frontage along Crosstown Parkway is just over 3.5 miles. And after the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, I had a couple of residents actually in Tradition come up. They were curious and excited to see what kind of commercial services would be coming. I gave them a couple ideas of some of the site plans we anticipate coming forward, CVS, inline retail, things of that nature. So they were excited to get some of that over here in this area. This is right out of the DRI. It's the phasing schedule, but I wanted to highlight 2 things. The amount of square footage for retail, service, and office. This is just over 900,000 square feet. And if you kind of take that and translate that to the 3 red stars, which total just under 20 acres, we're not going to get close to 900,000. We'd be lucky to get a third of that. But that just puts it in context that we're really not increasing any intensity or density or anything with this amendment. And then the last part on the bottom there is I've highlighted the original DRI approval contemplated what they refer to as an ITE rate, 820 for shopping centers. And what that really translates to is, let me see if I can read here, it's a little small. It equates from a transportation analysis standpoint for sort of community centers, shopping centers, things of that, where you would expect to find inline retail, some fast food, pharmacies with drive-through. And so that was contemplated already with the traffic and the impacts. These next 2 slides just kind of go over the consistency with the comprehensive plan that staff outlined. And just thank you for your time tonight, and I appreciate staff's time and collaboration. Really great group of professionals there to work with, so you guys are lucky.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I'm gonna have questions for staff to start.
Oh, you have something for staff?
Yeah, I do, and I might have something for him too, but just.
Okay.
So a couple of things is just in the history of the Crosstown Parkway, from my understanding, is the goal is always to keep as much commercial off of it because it's meant to be a greenway and connect people as fast as possible so you don't have that ingress and egress. That was a lot of debate when we did the Verano Publix Plaza, obviously. And so especially when we opened up in the 7-Eleven and the other uses there, it was controversial in that nature. So I remember a previous council conversation with that. With the increased intensity, and since you said you had site plans coming in, some of the things I would be uncomfortable with would be automotive uses as well as gas stations and such that would create high volumes of traffic. Because again, this goes back to that
Sure.
greenway concept of keeping people off of Crosstown as far as ingress and egress. To me, the fact that we're looking at removing homes, because it's only 10% is what I read in the backup, 10% for commercial. We're looking at removing homes and adding commercial is a fantastic thing. It's just really hard with Crosstown for its intent. So if you would like to tell me more about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, great point. And you're right, Crosstown Parkway is a limited access facility. And so we actually worked with staff really well on a lot of these commercial pods where there is only one access into it from Crosstown, adhering to the policy guidelines and the engineering requirements for that limited access. And so the uses have been meant to utilize the existing North-South A, Verano Parkway South to get access into these commercial facilities versus having the ingress-egress from Crosstown Parkway. There are distance requirements where the access can be provided, and so we adhere to those strictly,
Okay, I appreciate that. I think that's going to be important with any future site plan approval that comes forward, staff, that we make sure that that Crosstown Parkway stays flowing is what is intended to be to get us from
Yes.
east to west as fast as possible. And then as well as, do you know if there's any automotive uses that you're looking to bring in?
I think there's a few that are looking, not a few, but I know there's one in particular that's looking for a site along Crosstown Parkway. But again, it would need to adhere to the limited access requirements. So there would be most likely no direct access into it from Crosstown Parkway. It would have to utilize one of the existing north-south corridors or the designated ingress-egress points along Crosstown. And so we take that into account when we're designing and laying out the cross connectivity in these commercial sites to make sure that the access works for all users in there.
Well, if council approves, I just want you to know I'm going to be very critical of some of those uses. So I just want to be very upfront.
No, I
Thank you.
appreciate directness.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I think we all will. Go ahead.
I'm sure.
One thing about that, the pod that you're talking about, it's located right there at a stoplight.
Yeah, it is signalized, yes.
There's a signal right there, so, that's going to mitigate, unlike Publix further to the east, where it impedes traffic. There's no stoplight there.
Sure.
Myself, I'm thankful that you're turning into commercial because I live right in that neighborhood, and I have to go to Tradition or I have to go to St. Lucie West. Mm-hmm. And you have Crosstown Commons, you have Verano, you have Fairgreens Crossing. There's other areas that commercial is going to serve it very well. So I have no problem supporting. I have no problems with supporting this evening. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one thing that hit me when the presentation was given by staff, that the land use change is necessary because the applicant wishes to provide commercial uses that may be more intensive uses. And then when I heard that, and then with your presentation where you bring up the 3 nodes of commercial on Crosstown, and Vice Mayor brought up a great point. We were trying to keep commercial off of Crosstown, but the other ones I see, are they already zoned commercial general? No, they're not. So it is, I will be one of the, with my bookend down there, very critical. Publix does have a light there where they go in. Yeah,
But not to get into corporate.
yeah. There's a traffic light, well, you go in and it's,
have to go around.
and you make an immediate right-hand turn, depending on which direction you're going on. So, yeah, I will be very critical also, so when those site plans come in, just beware.
No, I appreciate the comment, and Verano has a long history, right, since 2003. A lot of amendments, I think 9 amendments to the DRI at this point, with shifting various uses around from mixed-use centers to then taking off the commercial to then putting it back. The master developer is very dynamic in responding to the needs of the market. And so that's why I wanted to show the slide with the existing approved amount of non-residential entitlement. I think it equates to 948,000 square feet of office, retail, and service. And so if you look at the RGC land use, it does permit a certain mix of commercial, and there was this market misalignment with some of the uses that wanted to come in, and did it really fall under commercial general, or was it consistent with the RGC? And so we agreed in collaboration with staff that, hey, the best thing to do would to bring everything into alignment, do these small commercial land use amendments, and then that way things are consistent moving forward.
And I remember that meeting well. The entire area was filled with Verano residents that were not happy with us approving it.
That was the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, they were not happy, so it's, so.
But,
Yeah,
but
I
to your
think it
point,
was.
so the 2 other smaller sites are next to a school site and next to a city park site.
Yes.
So absolutely, when it comes to paying attention to what the plan is to go in there, I think that's another reason why we're all, going to be really mindful of what that's going to look like.
Sure.
So what's going to be
I
the
understand.
surrounding use. So thank you.
Madam Mayor, too, and the DRI is a DRI, but aesthetically speaking, the Verano Publix area and the uses within there also aesthetically resemble the Verano brand. Do we have specifications in these agreements that these parcels are also going to resemble that? Meaning, what I think makes the commercial that we do have crosstown okay and special in a sense is because it actually looks, it's not hodgepodgey.
Sure.
And it looks like, for example, the Madame Circle K, the Verano, it actually looks like it belongs there, and it's not this brand with this brand and this color scheme with this color scheme. So is that already in the parameters of the DRI, or is that something we would have to specify in approval?
We have our citywide design standards.
Right.
This is just the land use change. We don't have, I don't believe, the elevations in for this site yet for these new uses that would be coming in. But for example, if a freestanding CVS comes in on this site, they would come before you for a special exception, I believe. So, I mean, you
They'll
will be
drive
seeing
through.
some of these again. We do have the citywide design standards, and Verano, I will say, is a good partner to the city and puts forward a nice-looking product. So I'm sure they'll work with us to address any
Yeah,
concerns.
and that would be my request too, is to make sure that it all aligns with the design of what it looks like and what it matches, and that way we don't look like we have one brand here, it doesn't look right, and then it looks crappy.
Consistency, theming. So I'll relay that. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other final questions?
And I
or
saw
comments?
Colt back there, I didn't know if he had anything.
What was that?
Colt behind you. He was edging forward.
I just wanted to alleviate some of your concerns with the access management. So part of the DRI, Crosstown actually had an access management plan from Village Parkway to Rangeline Road. So the openings that you see today should be all that is allowed going forward. So we will definitely make sure that when the individual site plans happen, they align with that access management plan that's already approved to provide that fast evacuation style route.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-27.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're moving on to resolutions. 11A, Resolution 26-R21.
A resolution of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, regarding reimbursement of certain costs related to the acquisition, construction, and equipping of various capital improvements to the city's water and wastewater utility system, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R21.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 11B, Resolution 26-R22.
A resolution of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, authorizing the final acceptance of public roadway improvements for Southwest Anthony F. Sansone Senior Boulevard Phase 3, constructed by Sansone Group, LLC, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R22.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 11C, Resolution 26-R23.
A resolution of the City of Port St. Lucie regarding reimbursement of certain costs relating to capital improvements for the Torino Regional Park project, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R23.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 11D, Resolution 26-R24.
A resolution of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, authorizing the final acceptance of public roadway improvements for Crosstown Parkway Extension, Segment 2A, constructed by DK Central Park, LLC, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R24.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 11E, Resolution 26-R25.
A resolution for Assistant 2026 under the Florida Inland Navigation District Waterways Assistance Program.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R25.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have no new business. We're on to our city manager's report.
Yes, Madam Mayor, as you know, we've been dealing with debris out there in the streets as a result of the cold spell that we had in January. And I just want to kind of report and preface by saying this will be no additional cost to our residents. So we're going to be increasing the amount of yard waste that can go out there from 4 yards to 6 yards. And really this is intended to help our residents deal with all these extra debris. Maybe some of the residents don't know how big it is. You're looking at about 6 cubic yard equates to about 3 dryers put together side by side. So again, no extra cost to our residents, and this will be available from March 30th to April 24th. So that is something that the city's putting available. If any residents have any questions, they can visit our website, the solid website at cityofpsl.com/solid waste. So that's something that definitely, I know I'm dealing with it, and I'm sure if I'm dealing with it, everybody's dealing with it. And I know the city itself is dealing with the same issue out there ourselves. And that's something that we're going to be probably discussing in the near future and how we're going to be dealing with some of our trees that are dying out there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I just have a question for the manager. So 2 things. One is, are we going to work with communications to bring in maybe even like Tyler Hatfield, one of the larger presence that's, does interviews to like let everyone know that we're going to be doing this? Because I think it's really important so people know, because I saw a lot of people cutting back trees this past weekend. But to Mariana, I know she's in the back of the room. I've been seeing, what's really frustrating me that I'm seeing is in these corner clip lots, or these corner lots, and I'm going to call out Atlantis because that's the one near my house. I've been noticing that they're putting yard waste and also bulk waste, and instead of putting it in the front of their house, they're putting it on the side of their house. The people that are abutting canals are taking their yard waste and putting it on the edge of their property line and the canals. And I don't think I don't know if FCC picks up there because it stays there. So I'm assuming how our contract works is they pick it up in the front of the house, not on the side of the house unless they're called. But these corner lots, there's people that, I saw it also on, that street that gets to Crosstown from my house. But there's a side street too that's right there. I saw corner lots doing that too and putting it on the side of their house instead of the front of their house. And so I have concerns with the yard waste, but as well as the bulk waste. Right now, there's been 2 couches, and I think it's partials of AC duck sitting on the sides of their house, and it's been there for like over a week.
Or just let us know and just report that to us. Please.
Do we know if, just out of curiosity, Mariana, do you know if that's allowed? Can people put things on the side of a corner lot? Because if it's not allowed, then there needs to be a code discussion with that resident, I think.
It would depend if FCC services other homes on that street. So like I live on a corner lot and FCC does service both sides. If there is no service on that street, then they would not be able to put it there because FCC would not stop there and it wouldn't be part of their route.
And does the contract say where people need to place their debris?
It's usually the frontage, but like me, I have a driveway on both.
Okay.
But it would depend. Each lot is different, but we'll look into the ones on Atlantis.
Okay. I definitely think that something needs to be done because I'm seeing it more and more where people are placing on the side and it's not getting picked up.
Okay.
Specifically yard waste and bulk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just a tag on that, I've noticed that a lot in the neighborhood. They'll take it right to their edge of their property, but make sure that it's next to the canal or not on their property. And it gets picked up every week. So I don't see what the major issue is with it. Plus, it's not supposed to be put out there until the day before. So, and I know that they stopped picking up because we had a lot that were taking it across the street to the empty lot and putting it on the roadside, and it was never getting picked up. So, just a...
And that's why I was asking the question, is it something that's allowed or not allowed? And if it's not getting picked up, then it's an issue that we need to discuss with FCC. If it's a resident issue, then you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to figure out who do we need to talk to get that taken care of.
Well, with there were a lot of properties that were putting their yard waste on vacant lots previously, and we've been educating ever since FCC started. That's gotten a lot better, but there's still some that we continue to educate.
Like Walters?
Yes, that could be one. But the education continues throughout. You know, there were, because of what happened previously, people had started putting piles on vacant lots. But we continue to educate, and with the corner lots, we'll address however we need to address, whether it is with FCC or educating the residents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Councilwoman Morgan.
Okay, I'll do my report first. On the 17th, which was Tricia's birthday, we all know that. One of the executive assistants in the council office. So happy birthday again. I know you're still celebrating. And I had the coffee with the council that day. And of course, we all know that it's usually aired the next month. So we did like a history of Port St. Lucie celebrating the 65th birthday of the city of Port St. Lucie. And then on the 18th, had the honor of attending the Port St. Lucie Police Department Fourth Quarter Awards, which was very nice. Congrats to all, and also very special presentation, the Purple Heart presentation to Sergeant Eric Lavasser. It was my first time meeting him. What a pleasure, what an honor, and it was amazing to see how many came out for that very meaningful, wonderful presentation. Even the surgeon and even the air medics, you know, were there. So that was very nice. And then after that, attended the fire board meeting. So my little tidbit for the, Kevin Madi Ajak, are we thumbs up for the lift station on Selvitz? Yes! It only took 10 years, but it's going. Thank you. Thank you. It is the little small things. Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful had another successful Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day on March 7th. So 500, a lot of numbers coming up, so bear with me. 538 vehicles dropped off, 143 propane tanks, 580 pounds of cooking oil, 34 vehicle batteries, not from Teslas, right? 797 gallons of automotive fluids, 31 pounds of medication, that's a lot. 3,269 pounds of e-waste. E-waste? Did I say e-waste? What is e-waste? Well, let me tell you. So I had to go online to find out what e-waste was. Electrical and electronic. I guess that's why they call it e-waste. However, it includes phones, computers, appliances, refrigerators, and microwaves. I would imagine it would include toaster ovens and coffee pots, right? E-waste. Now you know the rest of the story. So, thank you to everyone who dropped off these hazardous items so we could dispose of them properly, and mark your calendars for the next e-waste collection date, which is Saturday, October 10th. Actually, it's for all kinds of household hazardous waste, but don't forget about that e-waste. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Pickett?
Thank you, Mayor. On the 14th, I went to the St. Patrick's Day Parade and the Irish Festival. The 18th, I attended the Treasure Coast Regional League of Cities luncheon. Also that afternoon, attended the Port St. Lucie Police Awards and Sergeant Lavasser's Purple Heart. And Chief, I want to tell you something. That ceremony was one of the best that the police department's ever put on. You recognized a lot of officers in a quick amount of time, and I was surprised at how efficiently it was run. The flow was there. It was a great event, so thank you very much. The 19th, I went to ribbon cutting for Carmela Coffee in Tradition, and on the 20th, thank you to A&G Pools, who selected me as their hometown hero. And although the Mets didn't give me my pitching contract that I was hoping for, I did get to throw out the first pitch, and that's a bucket list item for me, to throw out a first pitch at a major league game. And thank you to A&G Pools. Thank you to the Mets organization.
Great.
And my announcement: join us in honoring and supporting our military veterans and their families and first responders at Vet Fest on Saturday, April 4th at Mid-Florida Event Center. The event starts at 3 p.m. and will feature live music, motorcycle run, and Jeep show, a 5K road ruck march, food trucks, and much, much more. Let's come together for a day of celebration, unity, service, and community. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
On the 9th, I attended the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office of Strategic Planning Workshop. Just want to let the Chief know that the residents I spoke to love the city of Port St. Lucie's PD and talked to me about how good our PD is. So that was kind of nice feedback too to get while I was there giving feedback to the Sheriff's Office. Then on the 12th, it was a makeup day for leadership, and I got to see Adams Ranch and FPUA and all the amazing things that I know we've all gotten to see over the years, but it was a lot of fun. Then on the 14th, myself and Councilman Pickett did the Crosstown 5K. Yeah, you forgot about that. Early in the morning. Madam Mayor, so I need your help here, David. I would like to nominate Carla. You know, you do your awards every year, your special community. I would really like to nominate Carla and Jerry and the Crosstown 5K Running Club for an award. Councilman Pickett concurs, correct?
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because, number one, they do have a litter team that keeps Crosstown clean. They've been around now for 5 years and have a board of directors, and they spend so much time organizing events for health and wellness outside, in nature, in our community. If you don't believe me, go onto their website. You're going to see a ton of places you can go run and walk and be healthy. It's just an amazing group of individuals that are stewards to the community, and I really think they deserve recognition. So that's in your wheelhouse.
So get Brandon the information.
Okay.
I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you so much. And then I also attended the fourth quarter awards with Sergeant Lavasser, and that was beyond amazing and touching. So glad that Senator Harrell could be there, as well as the entire team from HCA that attended, that was helping Sergeant Lavasser recover. We're so grateful for them and their loving hands in getting him back to, I mean, I understand he's not 100%, but man, does he look it. I mean, just incredible angels watching over him. And the announcement I have is volunteers took part in a unique conservation event this past weekend inside a green space in Whispering Pines. With the help of the Minter Biological Control of Weeds Labs, air potato beetles and Brazilian pepper, it looks like trips, T-H-R-I-P-S. It's an interesting bug. Were released to help fight invasive plants naturally. Volunteers also shaped new walking paths and took part in the community cleanup. This event was part of the Naturally PSL Conservation Corps pilot project supported by the Trust of Public Lands on the Common Ground program. How do I say it, Kate? I heard you say it. Thirps. Thirps. Is that a bug? What is it?
We need Owen here to give us a presentation on his isopods and all the insects.
I agree. I just don't know, like, I mean, it's great that they're killing the Brazilian peppers. I just don't want to necessarily run into one of them.
True.
So.
That's it, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Thanks. Councilman Bonner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on the 14th, we had the whole family on the St. Patrick's Day parade float, and we had so much fun. I hope you'll organize one again on Columbus Day. So one can only one can only hope.
Oh, wow.
And on the 16th, it was my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, Tara! And we also had a city council meeting on that day. Thank you, guys.
It's a Monday council day.
And had a nice tour out at Project Lift, and then so much has been said about the police awards ceremony, and really the impactful moment for me was Sergeant Lavasser's comments. I mean, just he's a walking miracle. He's just the gratitude he expressed, and just very well done. Thank you. And Easter is almost here. There are 2 family-friendly events to help celebrate the season. First, the Easter Bunny Breakfast is 9:30 a.m. Saturday, March 28th at the Community Center, where you can enjoy French toast, festive goodies, and photos with the Easter Bunny. Yours truly will also be there. Then, with Anthony Jr. and little Adele. So just a bonus that they didn't include in this notice. Then there's the Spring Extravaganza, 9 a.m. Saturday, April 4th at Whispering Pines Park. Enjoy a fun-filled morning with free games, inflatables, and hunts for 60,000 eggs. Learn more about our events at cityofpsl.com/events.
Who put 60,000 eggs out? Our team, our Parks and Recs team puts out 60,000 eggs every year. They're amazing.
Vet Fest is having 10,000 that same day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're absolutely amazing that they do this every year. So.
Brad's back there.
Brad's just saying, I'm glad I don't have to do it. Okay, so a few things. I met with Congressman Mast last week, talked about our federal appropriations with Kate. That was great, and Boris was there as well. So looking for his assistance, of course, with federal funding, as we always do. Yeah, you all talked about the fourth quarter awards. Eric is absolutely one of the most amazing people I've ever known in my lifetime. And yeah, when he got up there and gave his amazing heartfelt speech, it was very touching. So, and Chief, yes, your entire team did an amazing, amazing job. So thank you very much for that. I had Fire Board as well. Went to the grand opening for Carmela Coffee. Spoke at the Lake Forest and Lake Charles HOA meetings to give my state of the city to them. And also this weekend, and Vice Mayor, you were there with me, we went to the Kali Jackson Woman is Art fashion show. Absolutely amazing. Her designs were stunning, and even what's more, I don't want to say important, but more intriguing than that is she is teaching young designers in our community how to be fashion designers. And these young girls had the most amazing designs And she gave them the opportunity to display their designs on the runway as well. And it was live streamed to Vogue, which was quite incredible. She's been in the fashion world in New York and Milan and Paris. So we have an amazing designer right here in our community doing amazing things, not only around the world, but for our local kids in our community. So she definitely deserves to be commended for that. So, and with that, that's all I have. So we are adjourned.